welcome you to the luxury breakfast. I wanted to make sure that my wardrobe was appropriate this morning. I have on a 475 Armando Castellini cotton shirt, 6,000 thread count, a bespoke jacket from Paul Stewart in New York, cashmere, a $6,000 Rolex, but being here with you today is priceless. So let's get on to the topic of the day. We're all here to hear about lucre and the 1% of us who can really take appreciation for luxury goods.
First of all, thank you, thinkLA. You run an amazing professional event. You've only made one mistake. You have me speaking to start off our friends Ben, Scott, and Deb, who are going to talk about Ritz-Carlton and also Hyundai. But I want to be the sort of straight man and help you out a little bit to set up the frame of what this world looks like and what we've seen through our research. But let's make sure I frame the research. It's called Beyond Affluence. The reason we're here, we're going to rerun it California style in Q1 with groups here from thinkLA. But who it is, we're going to talk about who's engaged on these sites, what differentiates them from the internet population, what roles do they play in the media ecosystem, what the heck is share of heart skip? I don't get it. And then what is those implications for marketing that you guys can take home? If it's called thinkLA, we have to actually think different a little bit. And in the audience, I believe a lot of the folks like myself in startups are more dreamers, more of the agencies and the clients are out here today are the doers. And I want to see if I can meld those two together. We found that 65% of the online population said they're influencers. Now, that means they do some influence, but sure enough, that isn't what we're used to, right? We're used to the 20%ers or the brand ambassadors, and they carry products like Ritz, which we'll learn about today, and their audience in the tribe, and Hyundai as well of what they're doing. But sure enough, it's these pollinators that we found, and they're acting like bees, pollinating the messages around their sites and talking about products and opinions. They're influential, obviously affluent, and advocates. What we really refer to them is got affluencers.
I wanted to talk about luxury really quickly because in 2008 there was a lot of talk about, is luxury dead? So I did a little search on that and there were 178 million people asking that question. That's today, you know, as of yesterday. And the good news is it's already been answered by 579 million people. The convention really is that you stay at a hotel. They do everything for you. It's somewhat of a passive relationship. While you're there, you're staying with them. You're on property for a finite amount of time. You leave there, and that's the end of the experience. What we really were interested in was making it a more active relationship. So we wanted to connect with people before, during, and after they stay with us. And we came up with this idea of, we actually want to stay with our guests about, beyond the stay itself. And we knew that people really, would tell stories about events at the Ritz, things that had happened to them, and they really do conjure up this sort of special memory and special time in their lives. Members of the Global Affluent Tribe consider themselves more alike than different from their global business peers. As they move through their world, meaningful connections with like-minded colleagues contribute to their sense of success and connoisseurship. They enjoy belonging to clubs, but not necessarily exclusive ones. A sense of inclusiveness is important to them as they navigate their world.
My name is Ben Gogley, and I'm the Vice President of Hyundai Media Planning at Enocean. For those of you who have not worked with us in the past, my group's role is unique, as we act as the media managers for Hyundai Motor America and also the Hyundai Dealer Advertising Association. From the beginning, there was thoughtful intent to market beyond the core consumer target of the Genesis. It was a vehicle to announce a bigger message about the Hyundai brand. Proof points about the Genesis quality, performance, and technological advances would lead the charge. So flash forward to 2010. The Genesis is now a legitimate competitor in its category, and the Assurance program has further defined the Hyundai brand as an up-and-comer that gets it. The all-new Genesis Coupe, Tucson, and Sonata have been launched to critical and consumer praise. What better time to stretch Hyundai's luxury footprint? And when more closely analyzed, overall Hyundai brand opinion has grown by 12 percentage points since the Genesis launch.
I'm Jerry. I'm jealous. All I have on is a $70 Ann Taylor Loft skirt and 3-year-old BCBG pumps, so. Maybe I'm the new luxury, I'm not sure. We had to take Genesis and Hyundai and really dress it for success. We needed to weave it into the fabric of America, and we really had to make it part of popular culture. Part of what we also had to do was to remember that there is an existing Hyundai audience and consumers that are going to be buying into the bread and butter, the Sonatas and the Santa Fe's and so forth. So we can't alienate people. We've got to make sure we have a universal message. Hyundai did something that was really pretty ballsy. They went to the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Now think about it. Pebble Beach is the penultimate of golf resorts, right? I mean, it is where everybody wants to go. It's where the elite go. And then this Concours d'Elegance is where the extreme enthusiasts are going to see cars. These guys are driving up in their $250,000 cars, and they're showing their $500,000 cars at this place. I mean, it's phenomenal. And there's Hyundai. They've got their cars. You go over Peter Hayhill, and you know, there's the Infiniti, and there's Mercedes, and there's BMW with their big, big displays, and there's Hyundai. At the bottom of the Peter Hayhill as you take the turn to go down to Pebble Beach. And I'm standing there thinking, quaking in my little shoes, and to a man, the people that walked by were saying, wow, look at that car. That is fabulous. Look at that car. Look at the quality. Look at what comes with that car. And it's $20,000 than that Lexus is.
I read from the Luxury Institute or one of the folks that puts out research that the defection rate of the upscale consumer, the luxury consumer, is about 80%. They're not loyal at all, except probably in a couple of categories. How are you all working on customer retention, and what are the key ways in which you keep customers involved with your brands after you've sold them?
Well, I would say, I mean, just, you know, having two colleagues here, both Deb and Ben, do a great job on their car when they're changing the mind of a consumer. If everything else after that you do, like the iPad, like the driving experience, everything, is original, authentic, they look more like me to Aston Martin, which is an advertiser of ours, than they look like Echoes, or they look like Genesis. So if you live and breathe it and it's authentic and original, it becomes, I guess, to bring it back to Scott's space, it becomes an experience, and people talk about experiences.
From a Hyundai perspective, absolutely traditionally you would look at the pockets of where these cars we purchase. From a OEM standpoint, Hyundai is very unique. We have to market the same teams at Initiative and Ocean and the Hyundai marketing department. Every vehicle from the Accent, which is our entry-level vehicle, the Veloster, which is a Gen Y vehicle, all the way up to the Equus. We have to have a complete understanding of all that and how it works together. And our understanding, our very clear understanding of the Genesis and the Equus, is that they are leading the entire brand to a place that we need to go.
I would say as things start to evolve as well, and we see that addressable television and that sort of thing becomes more available and more readily usable, that you know, in conjunction with the geo-targeting is something you'll probably see us doing. It makes a lot of sense if we're, like you said, more into sustaining mode to go in then and target very specifically, because then we're looking at sales, not just halo.
I think what's happened is there's kind of a new normal. I hate using that word, but and people are starting to, you know, go back to have meetings and so forth at Ritz-Carlton. So I think that's really the idea, is that people had to pull back, but now it's sort of like, while it's arguable that we're back in recession, there's still going to be tough times, but people have adjusted, I would say.
Okay, we have an iPad to give away, and I'd like to thank our speakers and our sponsors, Martini Media, for a wonderful morning. Thank you so much.